Hi, welcome to Gentle Body Stretch. So nice class today to open up the side body, hips, neck and shoulders. You'll need to grab a strap and then a block. So it can be a block of any size. It could be a more brick style block or a sort of shorter, wider one, or whatever you've got that's equivalent. And we're going to come to start in a cross-legged position. So if you like a little bit of support with cushions underneath the knees or something to sit on to lift the hips up, then grabbing that as well. And then allowing the eyes to close once you find yourself into somewhere that feels comfortable. And then hands can fall wherever feels good, maybe palms up in the lap, one on top of the other. And taking a moment today to draw a little bit inwards, so starting to notice what's going on in the body. How does it feel today? Are there places that are tight? Are there places that are holding stress? Maybe seeing if on your exhales, if you can get a sense of grounding down through the root of the body, so through the sit bones, and a feeling of heaviness coming through that lower part of the body into the ground. And maybe as you inhale, you begin to feel a little bit of length in your upper body. Maybe almost a little bit of lightness, as if the upper body is kind of floating above the lower body. So working with your inhales and exhales here. Exhales, grounding down, releasing any stress, any tension from the body, any emotional stress from the day. And inhale, finding length and lightness through the upper body, drawing in and receiving energy. Maybe you get a sense of your torso expanding out to the sides and the back, taking up space in a 3D nature as you breathe in. Taking a few more breaths here, and whatever way feels good, you can stick with breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. You can take the breath to just the nose if that feels good. Whatever's feeling natural for you today, taking a few more of those inhales, receiving energy, lengthening, lightening through the body. Exhaling, grounding down, removing anything stuck, anything that's tight, any stresses from the body, from the mind. And on your next inhale, slowly opening your eyes, bringing the hands onto the knees and starting off by taking some nice circles. So whichever way feels good, we'll swap directions. So really leaning forward as you circle, rolling back. So just feeling into this movement organically, whatever it is that your body needs today. You can pause in any spot that feels good. Seeing if you can move slowly and mindfully, kind of working with your breath. So maybe you exhale as you come forward. Inhaling as you rise up. And then whenever you want to, you can change direction. So having a little feel into the hips, the spine, the side of the body. Where's feeling tight today? Where's feeling loose today? And I should probably say welcome to my new space. If this is the first class you're doing with a slightly different background. still fairly similar, magnolia walls and all that. But yeah, welcome to my new space and my new home. So taking a couple more of these nice circles wherever you are. And then finding a way back to center. Taking a little moment to inhale, sit up tall through the spine, lengthening through the back of the head, out through the crown of the head. So maybe tucking the chin ever so slightly to get that length in the back of the neck. And then exhaling out through the mouth. Bring the hands behind the body and opening the legs sort of a little wider than hips width. And then bending the right knee, bringing the right foot in by the left thigh. So we're kind of coming into that that sort of bent position, that head to knee pose, almost like we often do, but with the legs slightly wider. So you've got the feeling of the legs sitting slightly wider here. And the reason why we're doing it a little wider, you can take them as wide as you want, is because we're going to get into the side body. So instead of folding forwards like we often do in this pose, we're going to come over to the side instead. So inhaling, reaching tall here, and you're absolutely welcome to sit on a little cushion if for any reason the stomach doesn't feel comfortable. And then as you exhale, the left hand's going to slide down the left leg, and then inhaling, reaching the right arm up, option for it to come over. So if this is feeling like quite an intense stretch and it's a bit uncomfortable, then what you can do with your block is to sort of pop it here, and you can bring, an elbow onto the block, and then you can always bring sort of hands up behind the head and do a little stretch that way instead. So that's an option if you just want to reduce the intensity a little bit. And of course, if you haven't got a block, you can just bring hand or elbow onto the thigh. So taking a few breaths here, the arm can come up and over if the chest stays open, or I can just reach up to the sky, and you'll still get a really nice opening stretch down that right side of the body. So really seeing if whatever position you've taken, whether the arm's up, whether it's over, whether you've got the hand up by the head, if you can get a sense of the chest being broad and open, and that right shoulder in particular drawing back and down. As you inhale, coming back up to center, right hand comes down to the ground underneath the shoulder, and then pressing through the right hand to lift up the hips. You'll notice the left foot comes flat to the ground, and then lifting the left arm up this time, opening over to the other side. So you can take either left arm straight up or left arm over the ear. So this time opening up the left side of the body. And then inhaling, arm comes back up, lowering the body back down, and we'll come over back to the other side. So reaching the left hand out along the left leg, inhaling, right arm comes up. So, if it's very comfortable here and you've got the reach, you can grab hold of the left foot. If you want to, you can bring the right arm over. And of course, you can stay a little bit higher up if that feels better. So really feeling into what your body needs today, and just getting a sense of opening through that right side of the body. Inhaling back to center, right hand comes down, pressing through the right hand, lifting up the hips, so really reaching up with the hips, left arm comes up to the sky, and then maybe reaching over to the right hand side, opening up the left side of the body from the fingertips to the tips of the toes. Inhaling, left hand back up, lowering down the body, and then drawing both knees into the chest. Hands behind the body, a little windscreen wiper of the legs side to side. So we'll come over to the other side, opening up the legs to wider than hips width, and then this time bending the left leg in, left foot comes to right thigh. So finding your place here, whatever feels good, you can take that right leg as wide as feels comfortable. And then inhale, drawing up tall through the body, expanding, broadening across the chest. And then right hand begins to slide down the leg, or if you want to, you can keep it quite high. So again, option to use that block if you want, and bring it underneath the elbow, and the other hand up. Otherwise, that right hand comes wherever it feels good on the leg. You can hold onto the foot, inhaling, left arm up. And maybe for this first one, just reaching straight up. Maybe there's space for it to come over a little bit to the right. But no forcing here, keeping the chest open. Breathing into that left side body. Inhaling, back up to center. Left hand comes down underneath the shoulder, so that may be slightly off your mat. It depends where you are. Lifting the hips as you press through the hand. Right arm rises up, maybe it comes overhead. So seeing how these different side stretches feel in your body. Is there one that feels a bit more open than the other? Is there one side that feels more open than the other? Inhaling, right hand reaching up, lowering back down. We'll come back over onto the other side. So wherever you want to be here, maybe there's space to come a little further this time. Maybe you stay sitting a little bit further upright. There's no right or wrong here. So really breathing into that left side body, wherever you are, whether you're sitting higher up, whether you've come down, whether you've got the foot bind. So wherever your body needs to be today, wherever it feels good. Inhaling, left hand up, and then bringing it down underneath the shoulder, pressing into the hand. Inhale, lifting the hips, and the right arm comes up. Maybe it comes overhead, opening, broadening through the chest. And getting a sense of lengthening from the tips of your fingers to the tips of your toes. Inhaling, arm back up to the ceiling, lowering back down, and then hands behind the body, and feet come to the ground, knees bend, taking that little windscreen wiper. Grabbing hold of your block, so whichever block you've chosen. If you've chosen kind of a broader, flatter one, then all I would say is you're going to want to be sitting on it this way round, not the broad way round. If you've got one of these smaller blocks, then you'll be fine with it that way round. So you're just going to bring yourself to sit up on your block whenever you're ready. And then bringing the feet in front onto the floor. So bending the right knee a little further to kind of tuck the right foot and wrap it underneath the body. So the leg comes down to the ground, the foot's facing backwards. And then the left foot, bringing it just outside of that right leg. If that doesn't feel comfortable for whatever reason, of course you can keep it in front or to the side. And then from here, reaching up tall with the arms. And then as you exhale, turning over to the right, your left hand's going to come behind the back and kind of tuck in by the left hip crease, the right hip crease. And then you can either hold on to the right knee, or if you want a deeper twist, you can bring the right elbow outside of that knee and the palm facing out. And that'll give you a little bit of leverage to turn. So this is a twist that we've done before in a different position. So this is just a little different today. We're crossing the legs and we're up on the block. So twisting as far as feels good here. You can take a really, really gentle twist. You can take a deeper twist, whatever you prefer. Taking one more breath here in your twist. Maybe on your exhale, you get to twist a little deeper. And then inhaling back to center. From here, we're going to grab hold of our strap before we get too tangled up any further. So you may just want to bring that left foot off to the side so that you can have a little reach over, grab your strap, and have that handy. And then from here, bringing that left foot back to outside of the right knee. So option to stay here with the feet if this feels better. If you want to take it into a deeper hip opening twist, then you can stack the knees. So then that's bringing that left foot behind like you've got with the right, so that the knees are stacked. So this is a pose that you can do without a block. So if you know that coming into cow face pose is something that you're really comfortable with, then feel free to take the block away. But if you're a little tighter in the hips, it's really nice to be sitting on the block. It gives that little bit of extra length and support and space, which definitely feels good if you've got tight hips. So I'll just show you what that looks like from the side in case you are on your block and this is your first time in this pose. So this is why we sit on the block, because it gives just a little bit more room to have that tuck of the legs. But by all means do keep that foot flat to the floor if that's better. So once you're there, you'll begin to feel a little bit of opening in the hips. Like I said, you can remove the block if it's in your practice already and you feel comfortable removing the block. And then from here, we're going to add on the arms. So grabbing hold of your strap, and we're going to take hold of it in the left hand to start with. So if you've got a buckle on the end of your strap, you might want to grab this side that has the buckle just so you don't accidentally whack yourself with it. And then inhaling, lifting the left arm up, so holding onto the strap with the left arm, bending the left arm so it comes down behind the back, and then bringing the right hand out to the side, turning the palm to face the back of the room, bending the elbow to bring the right hand behind the back, and then you'll notice you can grab hold of your strap. And from here, we're trying to lift the left elbow up towards the ceiling, so getting a sense of openness through the arm, through the chest and the shoulder, and then breathing into that space. So from behind, how that will look is like that. And then what you're really aiming to do here is to keep the chest and the shoulder open. So this is where the strap is really helpful. I think we've talked quite a few times before about how sometimes when you try and grab the bind without the strap, it can mean that the chest will kind of folds in and closes in, and then that doesn't give you the openness that you want. So, feel free to use the strap. It's a really nice way to get that openness in the shoulders. And then either staying here for a couple more breaths, or if you'd like to, there's an option to take a bit of a forward fold in this position. So it might be that this already feels pretty intense. For most of us, this is a massive opener on the shoulders. If you feel very open in your shoulders today, then you can begin to fold forwards, and you're folding forwards leading with the chest. So instead of leading with the chin or the forehead, the head stays up as you fold forward with the chest. And the trick here is, as you fold forward, is to try and keep that left elbow from not wanting to also come forward. So still keeping that same position with the left elbow reaching back. So you may find that there's a little bit of space for you to fall forward. It increases the stretch on the hips as well as the shoulders. Taking one more breath wherever you are. If you're taking that fold forward, back to center, and then releasing the right hand from the strap, left arm comes up, letting go of the strap. And then option to stay in your position with your legs, or if you'd like to, you can take a fold forward without the cow face arms. So bringing the hands down to the ground and folding forwards. Maybe the forehead comes to the knees. Maybe you stay quite upright, that's okay. So this is a really big opener on the hips. So being really mindful as you come down, again, leading with the chest. And maybe you come down to elbows, whatever's feeling good. Taking 2 more breaths in this pose, really breathing into that left hip if it's feeling tight. Seeing if you can visualize space being created there as you exhale. And then inhale, if you've taken that forward fold, walking the hands back. And then hands come behind the body, bringing that left foot flat first of all, and then out in front, and then right foot out in front, staying on your block, hands behind the body, shake of the legs. So you may find if you're on a very small block like I am, it can be a bit of a tricky one for balance. So do try and make this as easy and as comfortable as you can. And like I said before, you can always go without the block as well. So we'll go the other way round this time. So this time the left foot will come underneath and will point backwards. So it kind of wraps under. And then the right foot comes outside of that left thigh and knee, if that feels comfortable. So finding yourself into that position. And then we'll take our little twist. So inhaling, reaching tall, and then turning to the right, arms lower down, bringing that right hand behind the body, so wrapping it around the back, and then holding onto the knee with the left hand. And of course, if you want that deeper twist, you can bring the elbow outside of the right knee, and then use that as leverage, or you can stay holding on with the hand if that's better. So taking a couple of breaths here in your twist, seeing if you can keep lots of length through the spine. Maybe checking in with your jaw if there's any tension being held in there, allowing it to soften, to relax. And then inhaling back to center. Taking a breath here in center, and then we'll come to take that stack in of the knees if that feels good. So as before, you're welcome to stay with this foot firmly planted on the ground. That's completely fine. If you're comfortable to bend the knee and have the stacking, then you can stack the knees. You might need to readjust your block a little bit so that that right foot also points backwards. So whatever you feel comfortable with here, no pressure to have to take the stacking if it doesn't feel good. And take in a couple of breaths here, getting yourself comfortable, seeing if you can get grounded kind of fairly evenly on both sit bones. And maybe as you exhale, seeing if you can kind of let go of any tension that's sitting around in that right hip. Grabbing hold of your strap when you're ready. So if you've got that metal buckle, taking hold of that in your right hand. Inhaling, right arm reaches up, bending the arm behind the back, and then left hand out to the side, palm facing to the back of the room, bending the elbow and coming to grab your strap. So really reaching up tall with that right elbow, opening up through the arm here, through the chest. Trying to create as much broadness and opening across the chest as you possibly can. And then taking a moment to notice if this feels maybe different on this side. Normally we've got one shoulder that's a lot tighter. So noticing if this is the side where you notice the tightness a little bit more. Sometimes the arm that's doing the kind of the reaching behind on the lower bit is the one that can feel the tension. And sometimes it can be up here in the top of the shoulder where you feel it. So just noticing what's going on in your body. Option here if you want to take that forward fold. So if it feels good, then do take it, otherwise no pressure. And leading with the chest, seeing if you can keep that right elbow still reaching up and back. So that can be really challenging. It so wants to just come forward and round in. So seeing if you can keep it reaching up and back. So it may just be a very slight tilt forward with the chest, almost as if somebody's pulling from the breastbone down. And taking a couple of breaths here wherever you might be. If you're taking that fold forward, inhaling back up to center, releasing the left hand, and then right hand comes out and the strap comes down. You can take a little shake through the shoulders. And then option here to take a fold forward without the strap. So inhaling, sitting up tall, and then exhaling again, that feeling of tipping forward from the breastbone. And maybe the hands come down to the ground. Seeing if you can still keep the hips grounded. So maybe the head comes down to the knee. Maybe you come onto elbows. Maybe you stay a little higher. So, you'll find that there's probably one hip that's tighter than the other. So for me, this one's definitely quite a lot tighter. So as I fold forward on this side, it doesn't feel good to come as far. So feeling into what's going on for your body and how far you want to come forward. And then we'll take a few breaths here. Maybe it feels good to close the eyes. And sending your breath down into that right hip. Using your exhales to see if you can kind of really let go in that area. What happens if you say yes? What happens if you let the breath in, if you let the body start to open and relax? Taking one more breath here, breathing into any areas of tension. And then if you took that forward fold on your inhale, walking the hands back up. And then hands come behind the body, bringing that right foot to the ground first of all. And then out in front, releasing the left leg, and a good shake through the legs. Staying on your block, I'm just going to turn to the side so that you're able to see. And what we're going to do is bring the feet down underneath the knees. Bring the hands forward, so lifting off the block just slightly for a moment. And then coming into a kneeling position and then lowering back down to sit on the block. So just coming through it that way normally stops you hurting your knees and things like that. Keeping the knees hips width apart from here. So we're coming into hero's pose. So the feet are either side of the block. If this doesn't feel good on the knees, then what you can do is just make your block a little bit higher. So add a little bit more to sit on so that you're a bit higher up. And you'll find the more that you add in, the more that the pressure comes off the knees. So feel free to just grab more and more blocks or cushions or whatever you might need to make it comfortable. And then from here, interlacing the fingers behind the back and reaching up tall through the crown of the head, broadening and opening across the chest. So sitting in hero's pose is a really nice way to open up the front of the legs, and then we're also getting that openness across the chest as well. So really seeing if you can find a little bit of broadness across the chest here. as you exhale, folding forward to bring the forehead down to the mat, and as you do so, lifting the hips from the block. So the hips lift high, the fingers stay interlaced, kind of coming into a kind of rabbit pose almost. And then releasing the hands underneath the shoulders, pressing through, coming up into an all fours position. And then you can remove your block, take it off to the side, and taking a few circles with the hips here. And then bringing the feet out to the side and coming to sit down. And what we'll do here is bring the legs out in front, so you can grab your block to sit on if that feels comfortable, if you notice that there's a bit of rounding on your spine when you sit down. So sometimes when we sit in this position, it's really hard, the back wants to kind of arch backwards a little bit. So do sit on a block, that will help the spine feel a bit longer. And then drawing your right knee in towards your chest, opening out the knee to the side, and the right foot comes against the left thigh. So this is a little similar to the position that we started in, except we're staying in a much squarer position. So if you remember at the beginning, we took that kind of wide leg version. So here, we're keeping the left leg in front of the body, so it's a lot narrower. Inhale, reaching up tall with the hands, opening through the chest. And then exhale, option here to begin to take a little fold forward. So this can be as far forward as you like. You can, again, we're trying to lead with the chest. You can come down to forearms here if that feels good, or you can take a higher version, hands onto the legs or hands down to the ground and staying up a little taller. So even though we're taking this a little bit more closed than the first one, it still will get into the side body a little bit. And then once you find the place that you feel comfortable, so whether it's higher up, whether it's lower down, then you can allow the head to relax and be heavy. Taking one more breath here, breathing into the back of that left leg, into the side of the right body. And then walking the hands back in, hands behind the body, straightening out that right leg, little shake of the legs, and onto the other side. So left foot draws in, left foot opens, comes against the right thigh, the left knee opens to the side. And again, right foot in front of the body this time, so getting it so that it's right in front of the body. Inhale, lifting tall. And exhaling, coming down any amount. So don't worry if you want to just come down a little bit, that's okay. You can come down onto your elbows. You can take binds around the feet. So whatever's feeling good today, you know, no pressure. It might feel different on this side to the last side. So particularly if you've got either very tight hamstrings, if you've got, you know, a tight lower back, whatever it might be, you might find that you can't come down as far on one side as you can on the other. So just really going with what your body's feeling, maybe closing the eyes so that you can feel into what's going on. And then as before, once you've found your place, leaning forward, if you want to, you can then allow the head to relax. On your next inhale, walking the hands back into center, behind the body, straightening out both legs, little shake of the legs. And then finding your way back onto all fours. Just to finish off, we'll take a few cat-cows, so pressing through the hands. Hands are directly underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips. And then lifting up the hips, rolling through the spine, opening the chest at the front, the gaze lifts. Exhale, pressing through the hands and really engaging through the core as you round the spine and tuck the tailbone. So getting a sense of the front sort of abdominals drawing in towards the spine. Inhaling, coming forwards, waving forwards with the body when you're ready. And exhaling to tuck and round. Inhale, finding your way back to center. We'll just take a little sort of side plank here, again opening up the side of the body. So we'll do a side plank with the knee down. So keeping the right knee down, pressing into the right hand. Left foot comes straight down to the ground, and you're kind of lining it up almost with the big toes of the right foot, kind of meeting the arch of the left foot. So what you may find is that you need to scoot that knee in a little bit, that's fine, so that you can kind of get the whole of that left foot down on the ground. And then if you want to, you can either keep that left hand down to the ground, you can bring it up to the left hip, or you can reach the arm up and over, keeping the chest as open as possible. So totally okay if you have a little wobble here, don't worry if you do. Reaching fingertips away from the left toes, really grounding down with the little toe edge of that left foot. And then the left hand comes back down underneath the left shoulder and bringing the left knee in. Coming over onto the other side, so grounding down through the left hand this time, keeping that left leg bent. And then lifting the right leg from the ground, popping the right foot down on the ground, so you're getting your kind of left toes in line with your right arch. You might want to scoot that left knee in a little bit. That'll help you get the whole of the right foot down. So really put down as much of the right foot as you can, almost as if you're really pressing into that little toe edge of the right foot. And then you can either leave that right hand down, you can bring it up to the waist, or maybe you want to open up the right arm to the ceiling and then reach over so that you get a nice side body stretch. So finishing here with a really nice side opener. Finding broadness through the chest. And finding a little something to focus on if you notice you're losing your balance. And particularly that left shoulder, if you notice it creeping up towards the ear, seeing if you can take it down and away from the ear, finding a little bit of space. As you inhale, right fingertips back up, down to the ground under the shoulder, and the right knee comes back in, finishing with a cat and cow. Inhaling, opening up, broadening through the chest. Exhaling, tucking, rounding through the spine. Back to center, bringing the big toes together, keeping the knees nice and wide, and then lowering down onto the heels. You can use any cushions you want to support yourself here in child's pose. This is where we're going to finish in Shavasana. So allowing the forehead to come down to the ground or to a block or a cushion. Reaching the arms out in front. And then inhaling, filling the body, particularly the sides and the back of the body with oxygen as you inhale. Exhaling, deep sigh out through the mouth. Maybe taking a couple more of those if that feels good. Inhaling, filling the body, particularly getting into the side body that we've opened and stretched today. Exhaling through the mouth. Noticing yourself becoming heavy on the mat, allowing your eyes to close, allowing the shoulders to relax, allowing the hips to sink down. Taking a few moments here in Shavasana at the end of class. How does your body feel different now to how it did at the beginning? Is there more space? Is there more openness in your body? So please stay here for as long as you can today, another few minutes. Letting your body be in this restful position. Thank you so much for joining me today for this gentle opening body stretch. Namaste.